let's talk about procrastination. Procrastination, it's not laziness. It's not, necessarily, being unmotivated or even avoiding. Procrastination is, by definition, it means that you had the opportunity to do something earlier, but you chose not to. Procrastination is not bad time management. It is actually emotional mismanagement. So when we talk about emotional mismanagement, it is really and truly not necessarily the task or the to-do itself, but rather how we feel about it, how the task makes us feel about ourselves, which is the root cause of procrastination. So whether it's stress, anxiety, whether it's shame and guilt for not getting to it earlier, or feeling a lack of confidence, maybe it's even a fear of failure. For some, it's a fear of success. It's a fear of the unknown, the fear of getting started, the fear of change, right? There are so many reasons why we feel this emotions, those negative emotions about a task. What is something, a goal or a plan that you have, but you just haven't gotten started? And I know immediately the excuses that we come up with, and okay, sure, we can call them reasons why we haven't taken action, could be, oh, I just don't have the time. I'm just so busy. Oh, it's just not the right time right now. Or, I don't know how to get started. These are so many of the excuses that we come up with in our minds. But the reality is that most of us can find a few minutes to get started on something if we really wanted to, but we get hung up on the emotions, and those emotions trigger negative thought patterns. And then we're all, 2 seconds later, we're spiraling in negative self-talk. Maybe it's limiting beliefs like, oh, I can't do that. I don't know how. It doesn't matter if I do it anyways. Things will never change. Oh, why me? Why should I start that business? Or, oh, I'll just, I tried before and I'll fail. Okay. Do any of these thought patterns sound familiar to you? So that is all part of the emotional mismanagement. So it's really and truly the emotions that we get caught up on. It's not necessarily the logistics of time management. It's not the logistics of, oh, I'm not productive enough. It's these emotions, right? So let's go through that cycle again, right? At the stop, we start with the task or the to-do. We think about it, it sparks that negative emotion and we get stuck, right? And then that negative emotion makes us feel worse. So then we think about the thought again and, oh, we don't do it. And we get caught in the spin cycle of negative emotion, being unable to step through and to do the thing that we want to do. So now that you know why you procrastinate and what procrastination is all about, let's talk about how can we face these negative emotions head on so that we can take action. Because yes, I really do believe that setting goals is important. That goal setting is important, but we have to recognize that there is an emotional component to it, that we have to also bring the emotion, bring the meaning, the whys, the intentions to it. And that is the only way that you're going to get out of the spin cycle and get to the action taking. So when I talk about how can we take action, so I want you to, when you're setting your goals or your plans, or maybe if you have already, I want you to take a compassionate look at it. Take a look at the goals and the plans that you have set and bring your emotions into it. In asking yourself questions like, why do I want to achieve this? Why did I set this goal? What will it mean for me? How am I going to be emotionally invested? Does this matter to me? Is it enough? Because in the reality is that, yes, even if you push past procrastination and you're ready to start taking action, maybe you start, right? And there is that bit of excitement and we're like, oh yes, new goal, I'm going to do it, right? And I think a lot of us feel this way around New Year's resolutions. We're on it for those first few days, but then the reality of how much grit and commitment is required and then resistance sets in again. That's why you really need to, instead of being stuck in emotional mismanagement, you need that emotional engagement and investment. That's what's going to get you through it. The key to setting goals and actually slaying them is ensuring that those goals are ones that we actually really and truly at our core of our being, like our soul burns for them, like every ounce of us wants this. And the questions in this quiz are going to help you to unearth, what are those issues, those parts of our lives that we really wish that we would bring attention to. Because when we set goals, and sometimes when we procrastinate, it's most likely, because remember that emotional mismanagement, sometimes that's a goal or a plan that we didn't set for ourselves. We're not invested. A lot of us set goals and plans from a place of, oh, I should be doing that, right? Think about that for you. Oh, I should be healthier. Oh, I should want that job. Oh, I should want that house. I should want that car, so we set goals based on the plans and the expectations of others. But is that really and truly the goal that you want to set for yourself, right? How can we bring our emotions out of mismanagement into alignment so that instead of hindering our progress, they can fuel them? So when we're setting a goal, I really encourage everyone to take a step back and to think about, okay, what is the intention behind this? What's my why? Okay, so to me, an intention is almost your true north. So if you think about your life and the goals that you've set for yourself in the past and the direction you're facing, okay, that is very much your why. It can be an I am statement or an I want statement. It's just a true statement, something that is, for a lot of us, it's that tiny, quiet voice in our minds that we don't really allow ourselves to listen to or to engage with, which is why self-reflection, journaling, having conversations with friends, like deep conversations, right? Questions like, are you happy? Do you feel successful? What would you do in your life if you could do anything? What are those parts of you that you wish you could change? The parts of your life? What would you be doing if you could do or be anything and there were no limitations, right? These types of questions that can bring out these honest answers and trigger those deep emotions, whether that's passion or excitement. And when you bring those emotions into play, it's a lot easier for you to take action. And one of my most favorite ways of taking action, it's just a series of small actions that calm any negative thoughts and emotions that are keeping me away from doing the thing that I want to do, that I need to do, that I'm 100% on board to, but just part of me is resisting, because procrastination is a habit. So remember, you get caught in that cycle, you have to break the chain. You have to almost disconnect those negative emotions that keep you stuck. So when you have a take action ritual, instead of allowing the negative emotions to drive your negative thoughts and bring you down that spiral of procrastination and putting things off and not taking advantage of the opportunities, you say, hold up, stop. I know how to break this disconnection or make that disconnection between my negative emotions and my lack of action, right? So that you can make those positive connections. You could start a take action ritual with reflecting on what your goal is, and even just having a moment of closing your eyes and seeing yourself achieving your goal. What does it feel like, right? It's about those emotions. This is why practices like having a vision board or manifesting are so powerful, because it's not necessarily about, what you see. It's about getting in touch with those emotions of who you want to be, your future self. So whether it's 5 minutes from now that you just got started doing that thing that you've been putting off, right? What are those positive emotions? How is it going to feel? How amazing is it going to feel when you start taking action and see positive change in your life? So when you start feeling those emotions now, you bring the future emotions to you in the present. And that is how you can bring yourself into emotional alignment. And another practice that I encourage you to start doing is, remember we talked about some of the reasons or excuses why we don't take action, like, oh, I don't have enough time, right? I need all this time to get something done. Here is another shift. Start thinking in terms of 5 minutes at a time, or even 2 minutes. What can I do in 2 minutes? And I promise you, you can do a lot in 2 minutes at a time. You don't need hours and hours to get started. You don't need weeks and free time and time off work and nothing on the schedule. And when you realize this, you start to shift from looking for big open spaces of time. Instead, you start looking for those little gems of time. So stop looking for the big chunks of time and start looking for those itty bitty morsels that are going to get you there, because it is repetition and it is showing up in those small moments that are going to help you to achieve your goals. Okay. So make those few shifts. Remember, just bring yourself into emotional alignment. Figure out what is the intention behind your goal. What's your true north? Where are you aiming towards? Okay. And those few shifts, I promise you, they are going to start adding up and helping you to break that negative cycle of procrastination, because it's a habit. And before you know it, you're going to be addicted to taking action, to taking advantage of every 2 and 5 minutes that you can find, and to get to where you want to be in this life. All right.